So with our handsome Mr. W, we're going to warm up with a couple lovely little find its and then into some recall practice and a little bit of loose leash walk-in. Ready, find it. So remember that if your puppy does tend to have a lot of good oomph, so a lot of great energy, I would recommend to sometimes warm up with some movement and then go into some focus on you with some softer or, for example, slower behaviors. Ready, find it. Oh, chewing is hard. There you go. So Winston, yes. Nice job, sir. So you can see that he really has a good time doing the find its. So I would highly recommend, obviously in the home front though, where the traction may not be quite as good, I would recommend to either practice this a little bit outside on a longer lead if you don't have a fenced in yard, or work it in part of your home where there is traction, so maybe with a carpet. The problem with doing it sort of at this level is that he is running kind of fast, and I want to make sure that he's able to have good enough traction where he's not slipping and sliding and potentially could hurt himself. So right now, the benefit of getting some energy out is you're taking this extra oomph that he has and it's not being applied to you, but now being applied to the environment. So ready, sit. He's like, my brain melted slightly, so we'll get that little sit. What a smart man. Good job. Remember that if he can't quite rock those stationary positions, which I know it's kind of like, again, the thing that we've talked about a few times now, is that with youngsters, getting them to do a little bit of in-between. So you do a little bit of movement, a little bit of slowing down and checking in. He's like, woohoo. So if sometimes he does have a little moment where he bounces off of you, sit. See if you can go back and work some softness again for a few moments. Nice. Because remember, if we do sometimes get them so energized that the only way for them to calm down is by losing it, then remember that you might be physically creating an athlete you'll never keep up with. So obviously, since he's got poodle within as well, those are very drivey dogs with a lot of energy. And a lot of times, even though he's a small guy, remember that for a lot of pups, that energy level is obviously something that some people struggle with. So we would want to make sure that we're not exercising him with hyperactivity only, because, oh my goodness, chewing. Because if, let's say, he was go, go, go all the time, he may think that the only way to finally get sort of calm is by going a little bit wild. So I do like to have a little bit of an in-between where they could be doing some of these exciting moments and then come back from it, which is kind of the main gist of today's practice for most of the beauties, because for a lot of them, they have a hard time as they get excited how to come back. A lot of times when they get excited, they start to mouth, they start to jump, they start to give you a little bit of a harder time that we don't really enjoy those responses. So then as he's getting excited, I might see if I can get a little sit, get his attention. Ready, Winston? He's like, yes, ma'am. Sit. Yes, there we go. So now that he's gotten some of those lovely moments out, we're going to do a little bit with some of our loose leash practice. He says, oh my gosh, I lost one earlier. So with the loose leash walking, remember that if your puppy is having a hard time with the gear, you can simply work this off leash in your home and get them to, again, start reorienting back to you. So I like to sometimes go from some of that excitement and then see if I can get some focus on a softer skill or behavior or some nice check-ins on me. So now Mr. W went from being a little bit of a wild Tasmanian devil in all the right ways into now slowing down and being fed for being soft by my side. Nice job, sir. So, but remember, if you're finding that you're not able to rev the engine and put the brakes on, and it's more so rev the engine and then crash into the wall or off the roadway, make sure that you're able to practice a little bit with your handsome guy before he gets so energized that he's no longer thinking. So ready? Oh, find it. I dropped one. He's like, I'm not interested in that bad boy. So again, right now as we're practicing with Mr. W, I'm just feeding him for any of these lovely moments where he's by my leg. Oh, he says, I forgot to chew that last one. Oh my goodness, there it goes. You got it okay, sir. Chewing and running is a little bit tricky for them, or just chewing and meandering. Nice job. So, but also look to his little mouth. If his mouth is taking food a bit harder, then that typically also is a little bit of a feeling point for how he's doing. So a lot of times if they're taking food hard, it typically means that they're overstimulated or overwhelmed. So it would be one of those things where I would gauge, how is the puppy doing? How is their mouth feeling? Also, how responsive are they to some skills? Yes. And that can also predict how well the training session might be going as well. So if you're finding they're giving you a tricky moment, oh my goodness, go get some water, you wild monkey. Then that might be a moment where we might have to, again, change the criteria, lower the expectations, or make sure that they're not confused with what we're asking, or that the environment isn't just too difficult. So ready? We'll do a little bit more with our loose leash walking. Nice. So I know right now he is working off the gear. And he says, I dropped that bad boy. Sometimes he gets a little bit slimy and they slip right out. There we go. Ready? Nice. So right here. So I find it's easiest to, again, feed the puppy. And of course that one fell out because it was slippery in my hands. But I like to typically feed the puppy on the side in which they're going to be on, be it left or right. You can rotate. So, but the main goal is we want him to start thinking that the good stuff happens by the side. Then as he starts to get really good at this skill, you would increase the distraction level, or you'd increase the duration in which you're practicing, or you'd go ahead and work a little bit on gear and start working in different parts of your home front. Ready? Nice job. Find it. Because if, let's say, the only times you practice is only in your kitchen, remember that generalizing the skills to many different environments is going to be part of the learning process as well. Remember that a lot of folks will tell me all the time, oh, my puppy does amazing with these skills, but then they step outside, or they go into a new environment, or they leave the home front, and now everything the puppy had known is out the window, and now the dog's not listening. So remember, it's not a not listening situation, it's a I don't understand situation, or I'm overwhelmed, I'm scared, or I'm too excited, and then thinking and functioning is very, very out of their range at that time. Nice. So notice how he was thinking about sort of coming over and jumping, and he went right into a gorgeous little sit. Ready? Sit. He's like, oh, good job. He's such an agile little man that when he gets a little bit older, I'd almost recommend trying a little bit with some agility for him, because I think he would have a blast, and I think you guys would too, even if it's just agility for fun, because he's a little spitfire and he's very, very fast. Ready? Nice job. So give him a little break from some of these lovely find-its with some loose leash walking, and then a little bit with that lovely refocus back onto me. Nice. We'll do a couple other little skills in just a moment. That was very pretty.